Listen, we exchange maintenance guys like crazy, right? They could be working for me today and you're going to pay them 25 more cents an hour. They're going to jump right over there.
So you have an industry that's growing, and then your population is shrinking. Your pool of talent is shrinking.
For quality, you have to pay for quality. We're not going to keep people for, $17 an hour. It's just not going to,
There's so many quotes out there saying, if you think that it's expensive to pay a professional, wait until you hire an amateur to do the job.
The younger crowd, the career centers of the high schools and stuff like that, and really work to capture that. They know that the industry exists, but to your point, maybe it gets a bad rap because of the make-ready seasons or the bad tenants or whatever, and for whatever reason we don't keep them, or we can't keep them because of pay.
Getting even the property managers to understand the lost revenue from a unit being down for 30 days to a make-ready for staffing issues is not acceptable.
The possibilities are immense, correct? I have helped people come in, help them, train them, and eventually I'm so happy that they become contractors and they come back and work with me. I encourage them. I encourage to do that because
Scott and team, why don't you say a few words about yourselves? Just kind of introduce yourselves.
I'm Scott Peters. I'm with Con Am Management. We are a multifamily management company. We buy, sell, manage, build. We're national, so we got right around 460 properties and about 60,000 units nationwide. I oversee the department called Property Services. We cover everything from A to Z, kind of like JR out there running around right now. And then travel around and support, write SOPs, capital work. I think we're wrapping up about 50 million in capital this year, nationwide. So, yeah, that's about a nutshell.
Tim Turner, I'm the area maintenance manager for Avenue 5 in Colorado. I manage 35 assets in Colorado, roughly 7,000 units, and I run all the maintenance departments for every property, and I direct the maintenance for the entire state.
With this being said, there were more than one, I guess, conversation about us having an in-person meeting at some point, hopefully in 2025. I want to get your take about, if you think this is, something that could be beneficial for us. And then let's just kind of go around the virtual table. So, JR, what would you think, sir, if we were to create an event and all meet in person?
Oh, I think that'd be fantastic. Yeah, I think it'd be very helpful.
Where would you see the location to be ideal? So I guess most people could get to easily.
I mean, I would guess probably, Colorado, Atlanta, maybe. Atlanta, the only thing that sucks is the airport.
Yeah. Scott, how about you, sir? What are your thoughts on having this in person?
First off, virtual meetings are great, but there's nothing like getting everybody together in person. I mean, I think, we learned a lot from COVID that you can do a lot of things virtually and from a distance. But to get everybody together, that's a completely different story. It's a different atmosphere. So I think that would be absolutely wonderful. As far as location, I would probably say, the travel I do. Listen, I'm out of Vegas, so I don't think you want to bring everybody here. Your meeting won't go very far. We've tried that before. So,
yeah.
Well, how do we think NAA is going to go there this year?
Yeah, they come here every few years. Yeah, but maybe like Dallas. I mean, that's a good hub to where you've got two good airports there that you can get into on Southwest or American, and then I'm sure they've got facilities there, and it's kind of centrally located. So, and then time zone wise, right? You're 1 hour from the east, you're 2 hours from the west, as far as your time zones go. So maybe something in that area. And then you brought up NAA, right? How many people are going to be traveling to NAA this year to Vegas already? And could you piggyback NAA and have a sidebar meeting?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I like that idea a lot. Well, I like all of your ideas. I
Just
like to
with
just,
NAA, a lot of times somebody's paying for you to be there, right?
yeah.
It's usually not your company. Somebody's paying for you to travel to go to NAA anyway. Being a
Uh,
first time, then you're not trying to come up with sponsors or cash for something like that. You have sponsors just for the particular meeting if you need to rent a particular room or something to that effect. But
I have some thoughts there, and I like to share them once we go around the table. Carl, just wanted to say hi, sir. Uh, I I saw that you join us. For those that haven't met you yet, a few words about yourself.
Yeah, hi guys. I've been on a couple times, although I've missed the last meeting or two. But yeah, I'm based out of the Indiana area. We have properties here in Indiana, Illinois, and Minnesota. So I kind of bounce around between the properties and kind of help oversee some of our construction. I work for a company called Regency Multifamily, which is, as I've said on previous meetings, it's a little bit smaller. We've got about 4,500 units, 5,000 units, something like that, that we own and manage. But yeah, happy to be here, and thanks for letting me get some airtime. So it sounds like we're trying to meet in person. I think I saw some of your meeting notes, Adrian. Yeah, I like the NAA idea, or just anywhere close to a major airport. That's easy to get to for everybody. No problem.
Great. Tim, what are your thoughts on an in-person meeting, sir?
I would love that. Anytime you can collaborate in person, I think it's more effective, and I think you get a lot more done. You're not as distracted by things around you. And I would propose Dallas or Kansas City again with the centrally locations, easy getting in and out, and then facilities that both of those cities have for to house something like this.
yeah,
Well, I would love for, I guess, to get more of us involved in a conversation. I think it's wonderful. I really do. Uh, just a matter of, I guess, I just wanted to share with you all a couple of things. There is a maintenance related conference that's being done by a company that's not so much in a multifamily space, more like into the single family space. When I get more details, I'd love to share them with the group. So this could be an opportunity for us to also congregate to meet over there. They're typically doing it in South Dakota. That's where the company is based out of. So when there's more details and we get, like a few months before, anyway, when there's information, I love to share that with you all. And if you could make it, then I'd love to meet, right? With as many of you as possible. As far as there's another conference that it's being worked on as we speak. Like they wanted to do something that's specifically for multifamily. Uh, I was involved. I was asked to help with like making it popular and like advertising. Just getting the word out. The details are still being finalized. Uh, it might be taking place in Dallas, I believe. I think there's a case to be made for for Vegas for sure. Of course, with the other side of the coin, because we might not be able to really get together. We gotta make it to the airport. We might just need to have like a committee to just kind of say welcome everybody and just take us take us to the room so we're not getting distracted, right? Of course, I'm kidding. We're all adults here, but I think Vegas is attractive because like there's so many direct flights from most of the country. That's what I'm thinking. And also Vegas is a city of conferences, right? You could always like congregate. Um, NAA definitely a great. I would love to meet as many of you as possible. I honestly think that this way it shouldn't be like a either or. Like we either meet at NAA or we have ours. I think that maybe as a first step, we just kind of try to get together at NAA and just like discuss in person, have a first meeting, and then we could plan for like having our own group meeting in the next year. I mean, the following year, the 2026, or maybe later in a year in 2025. That's fine by me too. I travel a lot, so for me, just an extra trip somewhere else, unless we decide to have it in Atlanta. I don't think there'll be an issue. There's a case to be made for Dallas for sure. Very strong case. I'm not sure how, I guess, easy is Denver, Colorado to access. It's an amazing place. I never been to Colorado to Denver until this year, and actually this year I've been there 3 times already. So it's been super exciting for me to just like get to know people from from that particular market. It's a great market, like great place for multifamily. Atlanta, I'm based out there for 21 years. I've been based out of there. Terrific place. They have places for conferences. That'll be like such an easy thing. And also being that is the largest airport in the world, also most of us will view, since I live in Atlanta, have direct flights. So hopefully they're price effective too, being that they're direct flights. Kansas City, I'm actually in an airport right now in Kansas City. I find it very beautiful. I think there's a lot, that goes for the city, besides, being the world champions of American football. So, yeah, but that's definitely a case. So I hope that we get more of us involved in a conversation, and this evolves over the course of like several meetings until we kind of like start crystallizing, and you get more of us, with more ideas. And at some point, I would like to maybe put together a survey to decide like we list 4, 5, 6 locations, and we let everybody vote, and then we just gotta pick the one that gets the most votes, of course. And then I don't think that we gonna run out of like topics or whatever. Of course, we could put something formal, so we could decide how many days do we want it to be. Is it gonna be like a 1-day meeting, a 2-day meeting, whatever. I think we're gonna put that on a survey to kind of see what's the sentiment out there. So to me, it's very important that we keep this group together and also grow it too. So I want to take this opportunity, take advantage, and say your team members, if you have direct reports or peers of yours, even service managers, I don't think that just keeping it at like director or VP level, it's how we want to grow. We want to also invite rising stars. I actually interview a gentleman that's a service manager for Simpson Group in Texas. Very driven, very motivated. He's getting involved in NAA. They're rewriting the curriculum. I don't know if you saw my email about like the KMT curriculum being written, and they want people from all walks of the maintenance life, like technicians, service managers, to be present and to contribute. So I think that's a big deal. It is to me. And if you have any talented people and you could, send them, NAA is it's like a 5, 6 question survey that, they have to answer. And NAA basically is gonna pay for their expenses, and they're gonna be there for 2 days I think it's in DC or Virginia. And they're just going to provide feedback, and they will actually contribute to like, rewriting this KMT program, which I think it's, very much needed. So I'm very excited about that initiative. And he's saying like, look, we've been doing this for decades, and we just kind of had, great people involved, but we never really reached out to people that actually benefit from it, like those that are actually becoming the students. So I think that's going to be an amazing exercise, and I can't wait to see how that's going to turn out for, the revamping of the program. So a lot of exciting stuff out there. I would like to take advantage of the fact that, our group today is a little smaller than, we typically had like, 10 to 15 people. There's 5 of us today. And I really like we didn't have this, setting like with the individuals that we have on a call today. I like to start by each one of you, like kind of picking a topic that you're passionate about, that you think we should be focusing on in a near future. So, Kyle, I want to start with you.
Yeah, you asked this question a while back, and I'm trying to think of what my answers were at that point. I think a lot of the most recent conversations I've had have been culture related, training related, recruiting. How do you recruit these guys? And I know we've kind of beat that topic to death. Certainly, you have in different capacities, Adrian. I've seen with the podcast or whatever, but how to capitalize on that, and it's a great industry, it's super dynamic, and it's like how do we how do we, push that forward and get the young crowd involved and make our industry known? I think that's just a constant conversation. So I don't know. That's the biggest thing in my company, probably.
You mentioned the podcast, and I wanna extend an invitation to you and Tim, and also JR, to be guests on my show. I think that although our conversations are amazing, right, and I want to keep them every other week, but I think we have to expand them in a different fashion. Like, maybe do like a panel of 2 or 3, 4 of us, and then individual one-on-one, which I already do on my podcast, because just meeting with 5 or 10 or 15 people every other week uh, does a lot of good. I just think that there's more to, more opportunities for us to explore. So just consider this an open invitation, and let's message and like set up sometimes for us to have the conversations. So thank you for the feedback, Kyle. Tim, how about you? What is a topic or some topics? Not, it doesn't have to be just one, that you think we should be bring into the group.
I think staffing is always a good topic, and it's always an evolving topic. But I think the economics of make readies and the economics of centralization, I think those are things that are always on my mind right now. With the current landscape in Colorado and the competitive landscape for staffing, I think those go hand in hand, and I think we need as professionals to be working forward with the solutions on those and being proactive rather than just being reactive to that.
Excellent. Scott Peters.
Yeah, I think the temperature of what's out there as far as the talent walking through the door, as far as maintenance goes, has dropped off of a cliff. I know we see it. It's something we've talked about on this call many, many times, and it's one thing if let's say we just have this fantastic training program, that's great, but I think because of the audience that we have in so many different companies, so many different places around the country and nationally and all that. But if it's a focus of every company to train their people, listen, we exchange maintenance teams, maintenance guys like crazy, right? They could be working for me today and you're going to pay them 25 more cents an hour. They're going to jump right over there and they're going to pay 25 cents an hour. They're going to go, right? So I think it's all of us doing each other a favor in this industry, no matter if it's competitors or not, is training maintenance, because they just don't have it. It's amazing to me, the things that I'm hearing and seeing, even on our sites and from my teams, in each region, and they're coming to me going, well, what are they doing in this region? So they're doing the same thing. The guys walking through the door just don't have the talent, and they just don't have it. And not to say that, I'm the say all be all of maintenance. I've got plenty to learn myself. I learn every day, but it's just that talent hub is not there. And we talk about a lot within our company, what we call building our bench, right? Training the guys, training the next person, training that maintenance tech to become an assistant, that assistant to become a supervisor, that supervisor to go into regional. But I want to expand that to, we should all be building each other's benches, because we're going to exchange people. It's unheard of that somebody's just going to stay with one of us and just be there forever and ever and ever. And none of us are doing anybody any favors if everybody's not really focused on training the talent that we currently have or we get. Right now, the terminology out there is paying for a pulse when it comes to maintenance right now.
I couldn't agree more, Scott. I want to double down and also like expand this, what you just said a little bit. How am I going to expand this? Yes, we're fighting over the same pool of candidates, but we have to keep in mind that there's 2 aspects here that you didn't like specifically touched on, but I'm sure you're thinking about too. The first aspect is that this is an industry that's expanding. We see how much is being built all over the place, right? Those places are needing technicians too. You can't have the same pool of candidates, like, keep servicing the same. Not to say that, we're not always, we're not already like 30% or 40% short staff. like as in average all over the country. So you have an industry that's growing, and then your population is shrinking. Your pool of talent is shrinking, because of the, older generation. Like, and this is also not just an age situation, it's legacy knowledge, right? The older guys had a different type of, they've been educated in a different type of era, like before computers, before smartphones, and they actually had like hands-on training more than anybody else. They're now retiring, they're now leaving. So the legacy knowledge is leaving the industry. What are we doing? Like, how are we able to capture some of that on their way out? Because once they're gone, they're gone. They're not coming back. They're going into retirement. It's the natural, evolution of life. So that's gonna be another thing too. JR, your turn, sir. What are favorite topics for you that you would like to discuss within a group right here?
I mean, everybody's got the same ideas as it's the same, because it's the same everywhere. The other thing I have is when we do have experienced people that come in and apply for the job, because I deal with multiple ownership groups. I mean, we own properties, but we also manage properties for a ton of ownership groups. The other issue is making ownership groups understand that for quality, you have to pay for quality. The pay is we're not going to keep people for, $17 an hour. It's just not going to,
You're absolutely right. There's so many quotes out there saying, if you think that it's expensive to pay a professional, wait until you hire an amateur to do the job. Like, that gets really expensive really fast. We all been there and seen that and done that, unfortunately. German, I want to stay just for probably like 2 or 3 minutes on this topic and share some of my thoughts with, like, the shrinking pool of candidates. Of course, we have obvious challenges, right? We're not paying competitive wages. We all know that. There's no secret about it. So that's kind of like top reason. People had to make a living. Inflation, everything we had for the past few years is been pretty devastating for, lower middle class. And most of our, employees are kind of like middle class or, lower middle class out there. So it affects them directly. You can't really, tell someone, hey, why'd you leave, why are you leaving apartment maintenance when they can, pay bills? They had to do what they had to do. So that's the thing. But then how do we actually make this career appealing to people outside of the industry, to even people that don't even know that this exists as an industry? And I've been thinking long and hard about, ways in which I don't think we as an industry are doing a phenomenal job at outreaching outside of the industry and telling people great stories about the industry. There's so many, everybody here on a call, you guys haven't been around the block for 6 months or a year. We all veterans here. We had our reasons that, kept us in this business. How about like telling our stories? Like, create a story, create something that probably this is not the right word, but something close to a reality show, to where we would go to people's places where they work, and they've been working in an industry for 15, 20 years, and sit down with them and learn why is it that keeps them in this business. They have their reasons. Like, nobody stays around for 20 years for no reason. You have to have your drivers, your reasons. And I think you will find a lot of amazing stories, a lot of positive stuff that we could take as an industry and package and put it out in the world, not just within our group to see, because we don't need, like, it's kind of like an echo chamber here, right? We talk amongst ourselves, but we're not, like, the pool is still shrinking. We have people leaving. We're not bringing people in. What do we do for the outreach? To me, this would be an amazing thing. And actually, as a consultant, I'm working with a couple of groups. I'm hoping to have something like, to have someone that says, this is a great thing. We want to do this with you. We have media, I have like the resources. I would love to partner with any of your companies to actually go make some mini documentary, some series, and go to yours properties and, sit down with amazing employees that are telling amazing stories, and make this like something again that appeals not just for our industry, how great is, Cardinal Group or, Avenue 5 or Conam. No, or just go outside and tell people that have no idea that this is even exists, how great is to they just be a maintenance professional. So I love to hear your thoughts really quick. Just kind of go around the room, and I like to hear your thoughts on this idea. Just very honest, very open. What do you think? Would that be something that could work, Kyle?
Yeah. I like it. I mean, it sounds to me almost like a commercial for our industry, right? Or an outreach program. I mean, I think if there's a way that we can capture and relate it to the younger crowd, the career centers of the high schools and stuff like that, and really work to capture that. I mean, I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong, but I'm making some assumptions, but I feel like the trades work and some of that stuff. I mean, they know that the industry exists, but to your point, maybe it gets a bad rap because of the make ready seasons or the bad tenants or whatever, and for whatever reason we don't keep them, or we can't keep them because of pay or whatever. I don't know, but it's like, again, the younger crowd don't. We got so many young guys, and they're all great, and they kind of just fell into it, and they're eager and they're willing to learn. And but how do we get more of that? And getting into the schools and getting into those career centers, at least for me, has proven challenging because obviously they don't let any Kyle Lepore or whoever else into these schools to say, hey, let me pitch you this. It's like, so can we get some media out there to generate the interest? I love it. I think it's
Yeah.
great.
How about you, Tim? What's your take on that?
I love it. And one of the things that we have done, and I've partnered with our local apartment association, is creating scholarship programs for high school kids, and getting them into some trade training where normally they wouldn't be able to afford to go to a trade school, so they don't, and getting them scholarships to get the training that they need for specific trades or general maintenance trades, where they're coming up through the ranks and they're learning these skills, and they're coming through the association. Property management companies can invest in these people, give them the scholarship, and then they fit the criteria. So you're grooming them as they go, and then you're getting you're reaping the rewards on the back end because you've invested in them from the very beginning on a very green, hoarder groundskeeper person, but you've invested in them, and you get that. And then again, it's a good story. So the reality TV portion of that is to follow one of these students through their path.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's wonderful.
JR, since you're on the screen, any thoughts?
Obviously, we got to do something. I think all this is great ideas. I like the idea of the scholarship programs because then you can, I mean, honestly, you could hire them as your porter groundskeeper while they're doing the trade school, and then they're already in while they're learning, and then they see the industry from the inside and see that it's, see if they would actually enjoy it because to me, it's a blast actually fixing things. Or walking into the absolutely destroyed apartment and then leaving and it looks perfectly brand new. I love that. That's my favorite thing. So,
Scott, any thoughts on what I said earlier?
Yeah, I think probably along the same lines here, but with kind of targeted, right? I mean, if you kind of look at some statistics, you've got high school, coming out of high school, about somewhere between 55 to 60% go to college. They have an aspiration to go to college. You're probably not going to want to attract or be attracting, not that we wouldn't want to attract, but you probably won't attract that portion. Then when you look a little bit fast forward, about 30% of those drop out of college. So there's kind of two envelopes of a window to capture here, right? As they're walking out the door from high school, they have no idea what they're going to do because they're part of that group that's not going to be going to college. What are they going to do, right? I mean, go to any fast food restaurant right now and pull up during the day when high school's in, and what do you see working there? You see mid-20s type people working at the fast food places. Well, what if you drive up and hand them your card and say, give me a call. I'll give you a real job, right? Not that there's anything wrong with working fast food or anything else, right? But what's the target that you target with that? I think, coming right out of high school, those who aren't going to go to college, and they don't have to go to a trade school. They don't have to put money forth to do that. And the scholarships like through the NAA are great. But what if they can walk in day one working for your company with no experience and get on the job training? Does that open up eyes to more people that they just don't know exists, right? Because that's what we do, right? Right now, you're going to hire somebody right now that has really no experience and then train them anyway. So if they knew that coming out of high school and they didn't have that opportunity, they're not privileged to have that opportunity to go to college. Is that an eye opener for somebody coming out of high school? Path once you got about a 30% dropout rate in colleges in the United States. So once they're dropping out of those colleges, what are they doing then? So now you're talking anywhere from the age 18 to 19 to probably somewhere in their 20, 21 age. So there's two windows of opportunity I see there for attracting people to this industry. Because as we talked before, how many of you guys started in this industry straight out of high school and was like, hey, this is what I'm doing for my life? Not me. I stumbled and tripped right into it,
100%.
So
Oscar, welcome, sir. I know you join us a little late than the starting time. Just a quick intro of yourself for those that don't know you yet, and
How are you?
some thoughts on what we're talking about right here.
Oscar Rodriguez Aguila. I'm in California, Southern California, and as maintenance worker 25 years ago, moving up the ladder to become a property manager and manage my own property company. Heavily involved in education, fair housing, and just helping people. And in general, my backbone has always been my emphasis in what I do has to do with with maintenance. That's just the core of everything that I do because everything's interconnected. And actually, earlier than this, sorry for coming late, I was in a meeting with IREM, Interested in Real Estate Management, in the Apartment Association at the national level. You see, what we're talking about is happening. They're also seeing that. They're seeing that there's a lack of connection and the need to outreach. So we're all in the right path. And like Adrian was saying, this is great. What we need to do, thinking outside the box. But what I'm doing personally is going to high schools, for example, and let them know about my journey. Hey, there's possibilities. There's so many things that you can do because most of the kids nowadays, like I was lost back in the day. I didn't know what I was going to do. Right. So we need to do that. And like you mentioned, maybe the college people are not going to be able to go, but may not be interested, but there's always a chance. But for example, to me, being a maintenance on-site manager, an on-site manager and a maintenance technician was what helped me get through college because that helped me with my tuition. I was having two jobs, you see, and maybe when I've been going to universities where I graduated and I'm saying all of this, and there's so many different options, but going to the high schools, my wife is a teacher, so I can go to the high school and I have a bigger connection and I'm connecting the IREM and now the National Association of Apartments come in. Hey, we need to do something. But for example, to bring this to your attention, Adrian, there's a company, I think it's MMHA Service Training Apprenticeship in Maryland. I looked at it in LinkedIn. They're doing an outstanding job of doing an actual hands-on place, and the piping, doing all those things to those kids so they can see it. And though that maybe that's something that we need to do in other places, or maybe where I am here, I'm going to go to a nonprofit that I know that maybe they're going to do that or try to connect something because we need to recruit good people. And with the media that you're talking about, Adrian, and it's like me, I'm a hands-on type of guy. I need to see it. They need to interact and see if this is what they like. And like you mentioned in the past, it's extremely important. Maintenance, construction, what we do is extremely important than anything that we do. And the pandemic taught us that, right? Taught us that we were essential workers. We were the most important people because we rely on each and one of us when it came to this. But like I said, we also need to give validation to our industry. People, because that's also the problem by doing what Adrian's trying to think about and us coming in and saying that we love what we do, that we can, the possibilities are immense, correct? They can become, like in my case, I have helped people come in, help them, train them. And eventually I'm so happy that they become contractors and they come back and work for me. I encourage them. I encourage to do that because it's a win-win for everybody. Somebody who may be lost, who finds a trade that they love, then at the end become with us, and then eventually they can become contractors. and they're helping our economy, and they're hiring new people. It's a win-win. We just need to continue to do this, and maybe with the social media, like you mentioned, to attract that generation or that group of people that may be lost, that they don't know because they know they don't want to go to college or they cannot afford it. And this is their way for them to say, listen, I can make some lucrative money here. I can make some really, and sky's the limit, especially with plumbers and licensed electricians. There's so many things that they can do. People can be making 6 digits. It's just, they don't know about it. And we need to be part of that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with everything that you just said. Media provides scalability, right? Going to a high school audience will put you in front of 300 or 1,000 people, but that's not scalable. It's so like it has limited scalability. And again, like I'm not criticizing, I'm just saying like you could only reach to the people in a room. But imagine reaching to the people in a room and actually have 2 cameras filming you while you're doing that and putting that on the internet. You could amplify that by 10, 100, 1,000 times. That's kind of, that's what media does and the internet does. You film that experience and you just put it out there, and then it could go viral. It could go to thousands and thousands of people or tens of thousands. Um, I think I know what you're referring to when it comes to the Maryland initiative. I think it's a maintenance training academy that they started right there. Actually, a member of our group is involved, actively involved. I hope to Mike Mangum. He's involved. He's very involved. So I hope to get him back here to talk about that. Hopefully on the next meeting. Since we're kind of approaching the top of the hour, I know that Tim brought us up best practices for streamlining make-ready processes in a previous meeting and also today. Tim, I'd like to give you the floor, sir, to just kind of give us your thoughts on like opportunities, challenges, and how would you like to have this conversation, this topic structure when we get to it? Hopefully next meeting. Why not?
Sure. It comes down to staffing. I think that is the common denominator in the staffing of this issue, and not being able to meet those target dates because of staffing. Right now I'm working on contracts with suppliers and vendors in 2025 to eliminate the staffing problem and the human element. Where in 2025, if I can eliminate a tech position that is handling make readies and contract with a vendor or a supplier to get those done, I have leverage. Where with an employee, I don't have leverage. Human resources hates when I say this, but if I withheld paychecks from any of my maintenance supervisors and techs until my make readies were completed, they'd all be completed on time. I have that leverage with a supplier or a vendor where I can hold liquidated damages over their head when they haven't delivered me the unit in time. Getting even the property managers to understand the lost revenue from a unit being down for 30 days to a make ready for staffing issues is not acceptable. Especially for us, we're a fee-based management company. So we have a unit that's down 90 days. We've lost 90 days of our percentage of rent. So, getting everybody to understand the economics of that and where the trend is going. We as property managers and as maintenance professionals in this industry, we have to be protective of our assets, and we have a fiduciary responsibility to protect the financial aspects of our properties. And if we're not being proactive and we're just reacting to it, those are additional days that are falling through the cracks. I was on a conversation this morning with one of my assets where we have 3 identical units, same floor plan, literally the same building. 3 make readies that are, one is 5 months behind schedule, one is 3 months behind schedule, and one is 2 months behind schedule. And getting the supervisor to understand, do you want a raise? There's your raise. Do you want new tools? There's your new tools. So that they're prioritizing on a daily basis the date of loss, because every day is a loss of revenue for everybody involved. And getting, and then they're going to question us, well, why are you going to a centralization piece? Because you're not doing your job. And we can't afford to not have you take your training and not have you do this because it's a problem. So, getting everybody to understand the economic structure of the make-ready problem that is rampant throughout the nation. I mean, I wish I was the only one because it would be easy for me to solve, but it's everywhere.
No, I see everybody shaking their head in approval, right, of what they're hearing. And you're right. Like what we're talking about here, they're not like isolated cases. They're symptoms of, something that's been gone for so long, and it's actually getting worse. It's not getting any better. Where would you see, Tim, where would you see some opportunities in a conversation? Like if we were to channel this conversation towards opportunities, how would you structure this conversation if you were to lead it? So we could provide, value to everybody around the table, right? And
Sure.
have everybody like contributing and themselves providing value to the group.
Well, if you just go from an economic standpoint of what does an average maintenance tech make per year plus burden, in Denver, Colorado, it's about $70,000. But I can quantify that with a contract with a supplier where I remove the human element because when that technician calls out, I'm delayed a day. They take a vacation, I'm delayed a week. We're not afforded the opportunities on the site to have a backfill of staffing because there's no staffing to backfill the positions that are open, let alone when somebody takes a vacation. So we have got to look at the dollars and cents and the mathematics of this and be like, okay, if I contracted out XYZ supplier to do my make readies based off of a contract where we know that half of my rent roll every year is going to need to have a make ready. So we partner with a supplier that says, I'm going to guarantee you, for example purposes, 150 make readies per year. And you can guarantee that you're going to have 22 in January, 15 in February, 20 in March. And we get an actual contract where we have a baseline price of what that contract looks like. I'm going to pay you $500 a make ready as a base price. And then every unit that we inspect will have a change order above and below that $500 mark. Then we've got leverage as an industry on a supplier because right now that's where we're losing our leverage and are losing our economic structure.
Couldn't agree more. And what you're saying right here, Tim, is something that I've been seeing as becoming more and more of a solution for the industry as a whole. The outsourcing, right? We don't seem to make enough efforts to replenish the staff shortages, to bring people in. I think by force we're forced to actually outsource more, and I think it's just gonna become more and more of a solution, long-term solution, for us to just partner with vendors and say, we give you 150 units if you could take them away from us and just like handle them a year, and we could deal with the staff shortages, have like more of a skeleton crew that's doing like more basic stuff, and more stuff will be outsourced out there.
The other piece of that too is the training piece that Scott brought up. How many of his guys have not taken the training and outsourcing it? We're getting a better return product because we have that ability to police them and hold them accountable. Where if my maintenance tech has not installed the P-trap wrong 5 different times, I'm paying that tech to do the P-trap 5 different times. We've lost the leverage. And again, everybody right now has had this happen to them on a regular basis where you challenge a maintenance tech on a P-trap, and then all of a sudden they just drop keys because they're upset. They don't want to deal with you anymore. And boom, their keys are on the desk. I'm out of here. This place sucks. And then not only are you trying to restaff, but you're also still not getting that make ready done. And again, it's just that hamster wheel of suck that you all go through.
I totally see that, and I would love to like take this topic and just expand, go around the table at one of our next meetings. There's one topic that we didn't get to, which I was expecting that out of the 3 topics we're not gonna touch on all 3, and this is emergency preparedness and risk mitigation in multifamily. I know that we're about to come, like some areas of the country, it's already cold. There's a lot of snow. I'm expecting a lot of cold weather here just in Kansas City. So think about, pipes bursting all over the place. Think about, fire suppression systems like, being affected, pipes frozen, bursting all over the place. Millions of dollars or hundreds of millions of dollars worth of like insurance claims. There are solutions out there that I think they're not very well known by the industry, by the operators. They're not, first of all, they're very effective. Second of all, they're not that expensive. Like they're actually affordable that maybe we should, look into. and just kind of like resolve this ongoing thing that, every time we get hit by the, cold weather, it's like it's hell breaking loose. We don't have to go through this stuff. I love to actually bring someone that has developed some solutions that are like very effective, and I like for all of us to ask all the questions that you think that are pertinent questions when it comes to that type of technology. I think it could be very beneficial and very educational for all of us to like kind of learn and also challenge too, right? Because I'm not saying that things could be perfect or anything, but if we don't have those conversations, we're not bringing awareness that those solutions exist. We still gonna run like 10, 15 years ago when these solutions weren't around. So I would love to have that conversation soon. I will let you know ahead of time when I could bring someone that could actually speak, that we could actually roast them, right? Ask questions and like get try to get to the bottom of like how the technology works, how does it benefit us, is it really beneficial, and just maybe some case studies and things. I know that we're up on time, gentlemen. Very much appreciated as always. I'm super appreciative of all of you making time today. 2 weeks from now is gonna be Christmas, so we're going to be taking a break. So hopefully right after New Year we could reconvene with a with a fresh perspective, and I hope to get you back here. I'm gonna be sending some emails in between, kind of like reminders and upcoming meetings. In the meantime, if you have peers or friends or some of your team members, even side level members that could benefit from these conversations, feel free to share that information. Send them straight to me. I'm gonna add them to the mailing list, so then when we send those invites, I get them included too, so we get them to be a part of the conversation. If I'm not, by the way, Jay Abney said that he couldn't make it today. He has some time off, and he's super slammed with with other things, still work related. He just wanted me to say hi to all of you. I hope you all have an amazing Christmas, an amazing New Year, and let's hit this right after the New Year. Let's make it a great 2025. I appreciate you all.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Adrian.
Take care.
See you guys.